what do you think that counts more when landing your dream job, a university degree or the skills that you bring with you? Today, we're going to talk about why skills matter, how to build them, and how to showcase them in your CV and in the interviews, together with my guest, Nora Dobre, HR Country Lead at Genpact. Hi, Nora. Welcome to our first episode from this season of our podcast, Career 360. I'm really happy that you are here with us on our first episode. How are you doing today?
Thanks a lot. A bit of sore throat, but let's go.
Just for the end of the summer, intro to the cold season, right?
Yeah.
So you do have a lot of experience and quite complex experience from what we have spoken about previously. And I thought it would be very interesting to start with a short summary of your career path.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. So I started as a cello player, not as a talented HR expert. And the walk until HR took me towards communication, for example. And it's maybe important for our listeners or viewers to know that there is no certain, very, very rigid way. It's a kind of constant searching, and this is how you can also master your skills that ultimately will create a baggage or a package of skills that will help you. And I know that we used to have, and still as parents, we put a pressure on the children, or as teachers, or as society, to find very, very fast your job or your profession. It's not that fast, and I would like to say that it took me some time. So it didn't happen in one day. I think that ultimately it happened in around 10 years of searching, mastering, trying and error, mentoring. I always try to be in a place where to be able to learn, even if it took me a lot of failures and learning and stretching and discomfort. Actually, this is what I'm doing now. So if you ask me, how did I arrive here? I arrived here not necessarily in a complicated way, but with a constant training muscle.
Wow. Yes, I do think it's quite rare nowadays when somebody still works in a job related to what they studied, maybe, or even in a similar field as their first job. So how did you know HR was the right thing for you? I'm curious at one moment where you're like, oh, this is it.
I thought that it's fit for me, but I was very afraid because I thought that HR is for the psychologists and for those persons that are very talkative. And I really want to give this example because it might be helpful when it comes of skills. I was always an introvert, and it was very complicated for me to talk and to be a go-out person. My point is that ultimately, this silent way of looking at the things and the way that I can actively listen actually is one of the superpowers in HR. So maybe trusting our skills that are really with us during maybe even from the childhood and then young adult period. Just look at the skills because they are not good or bad. They are, and they can be useful.
Nowadays, skills are as important or more important even than the degrees that we have. But I think it's a little bit difficult for people sometimes to understand what does that mean exactly. So how are skills and what are the skills and how can people develop the skills as well?
Mm-hmm. I remember around 10 years ago when Google announced that they are hiring without diplomas, and I was working in banking. And even if I think of myself that I'm an early adopter or innovative, I said, no way, this is not going to happen. Back to these days, and I really want to give the Genpact example, we can really, for several positions, hire without degrees. Why? Because skills matters. Why? Because we can top up the skills. We can upskill our employees. And what is a skill? Sometimes I give this example to the students. Look at you. What kind of professions you had in mind when you were a kid, and do like a common denominator. Maybe you wanted to be a doctor, and maybe you wanted to have a profession that it's maybe not very sales-ish or outgoing. So maybe there are some common denominator skills and same skills that actually will help you now. As I was giving you the example with being a bit maybe more silent, look at you, your wishes, how your career or how your wishes went until you got a job. And you will see that some skills are there. If you don't have any ideas, when you start, for example, to do your LinkedIn profile, if you follow the steps, you will have hints and really concrete help what behavior is producing or what experience is producing what kind of skills. So you can really concretely tap onto the skills.
Yes, because I think this is what a lot of people do have kind of an issue with. They hear about skills, 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 and they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I know what skills do I have? And how am I supposed to develop more skills? And also, maybe I have developed the skills, but how do I make that kind of come across in my CV or in my interview? How do you think they can maybe show off their skills?
Uh-huh. Um, I would say even for this, you can use artificial intelligence at least to structure the skills because you have a catalog available. So choose for them. Ultimately, how do, for example, companies evaluate skills? Of course, we can look at language or I don't know, Excel or Power BI. Okay, we can look at this. So then everything counts in the interview. It's kind of all the rest. So my recommendation is don't be shy with your skills in the CV because in the recruitment interview talk, you will talk about all the rest. So make full your CV with those skills that are somehow obviously present when you did, for example, voluntary activity or scouting or even a summer job. They produced some skills that you are having them.
Yeah, and I think that if you put in your CV, this type of experiences also allows the HR person that is going to be in the interview to kind of find some topics that they can talk to you about, right? Am I wrong? Are you supposed to put this type of experience in your CV?
Um, Absolutely, yes. And a recommendation is for the candidates to look what means the star model and just be prepared as candidate to answer and to do an interview knowing what means a star model. That means that you will have a structure where you will be safe and will know how to present that what you have done produce the skill. For example, you will be able to present how a summer work produced the skill of being a good team member, for example, or being a good project management skills. Also might be an effect of a voluntary work. So what I wanted to say is that this is a recommendation for the candidates. STAR, this is the name of the method that we use in recruitment. Look to it and be prepared because this is how the recruiters will discuss with you.
So you're saying, what is it called again? The STAR method or the STAR model?
It's very easy to retain because it's STAR, but it stands for situation, task, action, and result. And actually means that this method will help you create structured, concise, and engaging responses. So whenever you will need to tell a story to demonstrate your skills, prepare from stars. I mean, this is again situation, task, action, result. Look on the internet, just type a star method.
Yeah, I think that definitely would help a lot because we tend to be quite nervous during an interview and kind of forget everything we prepare. So if we do have this very clear structure in our mind constantly, maybe it's going to help quite a bit. We're talking about skills, and I'm curious. You were saying that basically the best way that you can show your skills in your CV before you actually get called to an interview is to write specific type of experiences. Where do you think they should put this? Because probably like on their work experience, or should be on their hobbies, or where do you think they can show off the best their skills?
Of course, that many juniors or starters, persons at the beginning of the profession will say, but I don't have an experience. Okay, that might be true. There are still experiences that we gain from learning, from school, from high school, from university. So, of course, that everything that we have done should be there. But I would top up with something. we can put in our CV on our profile also like a tagline to say, I'm this now, but I wish to be that one. For example, I can be a marketing student, but maybe I wish to be a legal assistant. So again, we should not necessarily limit ourselves to what we are now, but it's something that we shouldn't be shy, especially when we are at the beginning of our career, to express where we wish to arrive.
Yeah, that is a really good point. I think it's quite rare that people do this, saying what their objective is towards the end. I'm curious, do you think there is a specific way that companies can really evaluate skills during the hiring process? Can you give us like some, little information that we might not know about?
You will have an entire conversation and literature about ATS system, so automatic tracking system tools, which are actually a smart way, which is actually a smart way to pre-filter CVs based on competencies and skills. This is one part. But again, ultimately, after this filtering with ATS systems or without it's happening, I am going back to the very old fashioned, or let's say the very human part of the talk, of the interview, that will surprise those nuances that are so important when we are recruiting. And this is about attitude, approach. I mean, a lot of skills that are really comparable and very that important as the technical skills. So we are talking about I don't know, resilience or maybe patience or curiosity. Maybe you will laugh, but this is really a soft skill that we are looking for. So we talk maybe too much about those hard skills, for example, like project management, but it's the same important to have there the soft skills too, that yes, we are looking for.
Yeah, definitely resilience and maybe patience as product manager. I guess project manager would be definitely very important skills to have. And I think probably people are a little bit stressed about like, oh, I have to make sure I talk about my skills. But from what I'm hearing for you, the HR person is going to make sure that you will be talking, even if you don't realize it necessarily, right?
Exactly. And again, when you are in that discussion, if you ask me, for example, as recruiter, I can't wait to have candidates that take over the control of the discussion. Let's say maybe an ideal situation is when the candidate knows the STAR model and really owns the discussion. I mean, in the same discussion, proactively can present examples and some insights about maybe their agility, adaptability, critical thinking, collaboration, problem solving, on growing mindset. So all these manifestations of the personality will come out in a discussion, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was curious, do you think this focus on the skills is just more in some specific jobs, or do you think it's more of an universal trend?
We used to say that it's utopic or maybe ideal to recruit for the soft skills, and then in the company we will solve the technical skills. I dare to say that it's kind of in Genpact, we are there. I mean, it's a kind of maybe ideal situation when we really have the capacity to hire people without not that many diplomas, maybe none, but they are really, really ready to stay and to learn. Why? Because I personally am very proud of saying that almost half of the recruitment in Genpact happens internally. I mean, around a quarter means internal mobility, and more than 31% we say it's referrals. So it's important to arrive in the company, and then you will have the real chances to upskill yourself, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that says a lot about how we recruit because I really wanted to tap into this. It's not only the external recruitment, but it's the internal the same, important. And It's kind of the same in internal. You look for the opportunities, you apply, look for the skills, have an interview, and then you spend a life cycle in that role, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, but you have the opportunity to restart.
Yeah. Do you think, I'm curious if, let's say I would really like to work for Genpact, but I don't see right now a job available that is at the level I would like to be at, but maybe I see a more of an entry level position or something that's similar to what I would like to do. Do you think it's a good idea to apply anyway and then work your way up, as you said, that then you have this possibility? Or do you think it's important to apply just specifically to the very specific job that you would want to have?
Please annoy the recruiters. Literally, please annoy the recruiters. And really, in this discussion with you today, actually, I represent a bunch of very cool guys of recruiters. Alexandra, Ioana, Liviu, there are a lot of guys and girls behind this call, but they were all just telling me if we come to this question to say, apply, poke us, ping us, write us. And, it's kind of, we used to ask or to work with the institution of motivation letter, but that was somehow reactive when we managed to be in a place when recruiters were asking us. I would like to say, let's transform the motivation letter into a pitch. Let's have a profile and a pitch with which we go to the recruiter. It can be LinkedIn, or there can be platforms or places and different kind of offline and online networks where we want to show up. And this is my second recommendation, really to show up and there to pitch and to ping and to be annoying.
So let's say that even if I don't see a job available right now, but I really like Genpact and it does have the type of jobs that I would like to have in the future. So it would still be a good idea to try to contact you and come and talk to you, even if right now maybe you don't have that position, or send you my CV and just say like, I'm really interested. I know you don't have right now, but I'm looking for the future.
It's not only that I say look for the recruiters on LinkedIn. I think it's amazing, for example, that in Genpact you will have a link where you can really express a proactive applying. I mean, you don't have to apply for a role, for a job, of course, but you just can say, hey, I'm here, I like you, and please count on me in future.
And I think this is something that people can do really easily and in a way better manner as well at our event Angajator de Top in Bucharest, where Genpact will also be present at Sala Palatului, because you can come, get to meet the people, ask the questions you need. And also when you reconnect with that person later, when we send your CV later, or when they scan your CV in that moment, they already have a face that they can place to that CV. So I think it has a lot more value than just connecting someone online, right?
Absolutely, yes. And I really want to make this double. So I recommend to do that. And just to put a foot into the company. Why? Because as I was telling you, and it's really a plus 5,000 company, only in Romania, but regionally too. Because then you can do this angajator, the top type of applying within the company too. And I really wanted to say that we have for this, it's not a tool, but it's a fantastic team, and it's named Talent Match. We do this matching internally too. So everything that somebody can do, for example, at a fair like Angajator, the top, we are doing this internally too.
Yeah. I think I have noticed mostly in the last years where we became very impatient and we want to have a result right away. So I have seen some comments from some younger people saying, well, I went to the event and I didn't get the job right away. And I think that's just like not necessarily the main point. That can definitely happen. It has happened many times, but I think it's exactly what we said. Like you connect with the people, you get to ask a question, and maybe 2-3 months later, you reconnect, you see they have a job and be like, hey, I actually met you at Angajator de Top and we talked about this, and here again, my CV. So I think this is something that people often kind of don't realize the importance of it, that it can come up even a few months later.
Yes, and you know, in a way, this is a note for ourselves as HR people too. But we cannot afford anymore not to give a feedback or not to reply or not to respond. I'm not saying that the world is small, but it's become absolutely transparent and accessible. So I would say that instead using the word we are fighting for talent, it is more like to retain, to attract and to retain talent. And even more when we are in so many places. And it is not only that pandemics brought this new situation, but especially since then, it's not anymore, you know, that fashionable thing that we used to grow and then we picked our clothes and we went to a bigger city. And
Yeah.
that was the aim. No, Genpact, for example, is in Cluj or Iași, fantastic places. So if we want to be competitive and actually to do a sustainable recruitment, we cannot just stay in a place without being responsive and present. So what I wanted to say is that we cannot afford not to interact. It it's not that we want not to interact,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a very healthy pressure from the candidates and from the market that this engagement with the to be recruited people, it's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time shot. I applied, didn't work. Now what? No, this is an ongoing relationship.
Yes, I think so too. It's not the one time thing. I think, you know, how they say that expression. I think you come through the door, if they close it, you jump through the window, and so on until you actually get it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have a person here with a lot of experience that works in HR in a huge company. So, of course, I have to ask you this. What are some tips and tricks and maybe, you know, some little secrets that we don't know yet about how can someone can really get like their dream job?
Mm-hmm. Um, Don't criticize me if I say that it's all about openness, but it is. It's openness and courage to apply, to write to the recruiters, to ask for more information, to show up, to be at events, to be at fairs, to be not only on LinkedIn, but in different kind of bubbles, then
Yeah.
you can be in the opportunity. And I would like to say that it's kind of provoke life and opportunities for yourself. Be annoying and keep on trying because this kind of investment, courage, it's literally paying off. It's not just empty words, it is paying off. And we should not be disencouraged by the fact that it didn't work from the first time. I'm not saying that the good example is that I found really my profession in 10 years. Maybe it's too long, maybe it's not. Maybe I will even change. And this is the sound of not the future, but of the present. But again, if there is to summarize in one or two words, it's really to be curious, have courage, and open. It's not a problem if you fail, if you don't get it from the first time. Step into a company, try to be there, and try to do kind of internal job hopping.
Yeah.
Move around the company and learn more there.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. Just try because you have nothing to lose, especially when it comes to like events and just making yourself visible. There is a topic that we have to touch up a little bit because AI is now so popular, and people talk a lot about how AI is changing the workplace and how you can use AI to maybe get the job that you would like to have. So, what do you think about this? Is it changing our workplace? And if it does, how does it do it?
Actually, as AI and advanced technologies reshape business, it's fascinating to see the new roles, how they emerge. I mean, for example, one that are named AI safety or data ethics. And this is not science fiction anymore. So we are really, really quickly becoming with these jobs relevant. As you know, it used to be with IT roles not so long time ago. So I would say to prepare for these changes, because companies must start viewing skills as a critical asset. So we balance skills we already have with the ones we all will need. And somehow AI maybe fill exactly this gap. And maybe this will be the key to keep in pace with the change, exactly with artificial intelligence between old and future.
That is very interesting. Now I'm going to end the conversation on this note because I feel like it's a good end here. But I'm not going to close before I'm going to say that Genpact will be at Angajator Top in Bucharest, at Salpalatului, this October. And please come by the booth that Genpact will have there. I don't know if Nora, are you going to be there?
Absolutely. As being courageous, I'm not applying for other jobs, but we'll be there.
So you can come and chat a little bit with Nora and find out even more what you can do to get the career you like and more information about Genpact, the company itself. Thank you so much, Nora, for being present in our first episode. And we're going to see you to the event.
Thank you a lot. See you there.